The story starts 17 years in the past, when agents Harry, Merlin, James, and Lee are on a mission. Their target surprises them with a hidden grenade, and Lee jumps on him in order to protect his mates. However, this action results in Lee dying. After the mission, Harry visits Lee's family to inform his wife about the agent's death. As an act of assistance, he offers his wife and their kid, Eggsy, a Medal of Honor with a number on the back. The service offers them a free favor, which can be whatever they like. 17 years later in the present day, James, whose code name is Lancelot, tries to save a climate change professor, Arnold. Although he kills the muscle guarding him, a female assassin named Gazelle appears behind him and cuts him in half. Then, she opens the door for her boss to come in, a man named Valentine. Harry attends a meeting in the service's base, held by their leader Arthur. This secret intelligence service is called Kingsman and it was created by the British aristocrats. Arthur tells the agents to find a candidate each because they have to replace James and create a new agent Lancelot. After making a toast for James, Merlin walks in to inform them about his mission. James was tracking some traces of biological weapons until he stumbled on those guys. He realized that they had kidnapped somebody and tried to save him solo. The strange thing is though that the man he tried to save is now free, a professor at the Imperial London College. In the meantime, Eggsy's mother has taken the wrong turn in life and she is now a couple with the leader of a local gang. Eggsy meets his mates in a pub and they almost pick a fight with a few of the man's minions. Everybody knows that Eggsy hates his stepfather Dean and the man hates him back. In any case, Eggsy is not the guy who will just stand back, so he steals some car keys from one of the guys. Then, he takes the car for a ride but he is confronted by the police. Eggsy crashes the car, telling his mates to leave. Then, he drives the car right into the police car. Eggsy is arrested and taken down to the police station, where he asks to exercise his right to a phone call. He calls the number on the back of the medal Harry had given him and speaks a code phrase to the woman on the other end of the line. The woman just tells him that his complaint has been filed and hangs up. A few minutes later, Eggsy is released and Harry waits for him outside the police station. He takes the boy for a beer and kindly scolds him for wasting his potential. As it appears, Eggsy was training to become a Marine but he gave up. The young man explains that he only did that because his mother flipped. She was afraid she was going to lose him just like she lost her husband. Their conversation is interrupted by the thugs who try to corner Eggsy again. They warn Harry to leave but instead, Harry locks everyone inside the pub. He uses his umbrella to knock one of the thugs out by launching a beer at him. Then, he starts fighting everybody else. Eggsy looks at him impressed. Apart from being very good in combat, Harry also has some toys to help him out, using his umbrella to tase a guy. The first guy gets back up and tries to shoot Harry but he uses his umbrella as a shield. Finally, he knocks the thug out and then hits the bartender with a shot of amnesia. He is about to do the same with Eggsy but the young man promises that he is not going to talk to anyone. When Eggsy returns home, Dean attacks him because he wants to know more about the guy who beat his guys up. Harry listens to everything through a microphone he planted on Eggsy's jacket and decides to use it to speak. He threatens Dean that he will imprison him if he doesn't let go of the boy. Then, he asks Eggsy to meet him at the tailor shop he talked to him about. When they do meet, Harry proclaims that he sees lots of potential in Eggsy, asking him if he is interested to learn more. At this point, Eggsy has already put together that Harry is not just a tailor. The agent touches his palm on the mirror, allowing it to scan his hand, which activates an elevator. Harry explains that the Kingsman service was created with lots of powerful people with many resources. These wealthy people lost their heirs during the World War, so they decided to put their money together into something that would benefit the greater good. Eggsy sees a large underground base as Harry gives him a tour of the place. Then, Merlin shows him to a room, not wasting any time. There, Eggsy meets some new people while Merlin informs them that they are all recruits. All of them will be trained and challenged but only one of them will manage to become the next Agent Lancelot. The recruits are given some body bags and Merlin asks them to fill in their blood type, name, and next of kin. That night, the recruits' room is filled with water. Some of them try to save themselves and find a way to breathe some air. The rest of the recruits follow their lead but only Eggsy is trying to find a real way out of this mess. Since he can't open the door, Eggsy approaches the mirror and starts punching it until he breaks it open. The water carries the recruits out of the room and they are all happy to make it through this challenge. However, Merlin tells them that they failed. They all tried to save themselves but they forgot the most important thing.
Teamwork.
He points inside the room and they now realize that one of their fellow recruits has died. In the meantime, Harry visits Arnold at university and has a rough chat with him. Unfortunately, the professor dies when a chip implanted in his head explodes. As it is revealed, Valentine has been listening to them and he was the one to detonate the device. The worst news is that Harry gets injured during a second bigger explosion. As for the recruits at Kingsman, Merlin talks to them about the importance of teamwork. To teach them the concept of teamwork, he has each candidate pick a puppy. The recruits will have their puppies with them at all times. They will train with the puppies as well as train the puppies. Elsewhere, Valentine produces millions of SIM cards which he intends to distribute to the population worldwide for free. After having a talk with the President of the United States, he sets up a meeting with the Prime Minister of Sweden and Princess Tilda of Sweden. He outlines a plan for them, but we don't yet hear it. The Prime Minister likes the plan while Tilda calls him crazy.
You are completely crazy.
Tilda tries to leave, but Gazelle does not allow her to go far. As for the Prime Minister, he implants a chip in his neck. When Harry feels better, he wants Merlin to create a fake identity for him so he can meet with Valentine and see what's going on with him. The next day, the recruits are put on a plane for their next challenge. The mission is to land on a marked spot while they pass the radar undetected. The catch is that one of the recruits
has no parachute.
Eggsy comes up with a plan and brings the team to form a circle. One by one, they open their parachutes until only Eggsy and Roxy are left. Roxy pulls the lever and her parachute opens. Eggsy holds onto her tight and they land on the designated spot. Only Eggsy, Roxy, and another candidate named Charlie make it. The other candidates are disqualified because they did not land on the marked spot or because they were detected by the radar. Later, Harry has a private meeting with Valentine, pretending he wants a large sum of money for his cause. Valentine stays close to Harry at all times because he knows that this is just an act. When Harry leaves, Valentine remarks that he put a tracker in his wine and they will finally discover which organization Harry belongs to. When Harry gets back to the Kingsman service, he has brought some footage which he recorded with his glasses. That night, Merlin gives the 3 remaining candidates their final assignment, which is to seduce a girl. However, they are drugged when they hit the club and Eggsy wakes up tied on the rails while a train is approaching. The man standing above him wants to know what Kingsman is and who Earhardt is. Eggsy gives him no information, but the train does not kill him, revealing that this is yet another test created by the service. Roxy passes the test as well while Charlie is sent home because he spills everything out. The remaining candidates have 24 hours to relax, so Harry takes Eggsy to the tailor's to equip him with a nice suit and a few weapons, such as lighters that are used as grenades or rings that can tase anyone. But as they walk outside, they see Valentine buying a suit for himself. The two of them exchange some comments before Valentine leaves. However, he promises that he will be in touch with Harry very soon. One day later, Arthur calls Eggsy into his office and orders him to shoot his dog. Merlin does the same thing with Roxy. Eggsy refuses to do it, but Roxy shoots her dog. This has been a final test for them and Eggsy just failed it. Roxy becomes the new Lancelot while Eggsy is sent home. The young man steals a taxi from the agency in order to find and beat up Dean, but Harry takes remote control of the cab and brings it to his house. There, he explains that the bullets for the dogs were blank and nothing would happen to them. He also informs the young man that the recruit who supposedly died is alive, working for their tech department in Berlin. The Kingsman service is supposed to test their limits, so they had to come up with ways to do that effectively. In the meantime, the whole world has gotten Valentine's free SIM cards because they offer free calls and internet access through his network. The Kingsman service spies on Valentine and they realize he is going to test something on a small scale first. Harry looks for Valentine in a church, but he is not inside the church. In fact, he is at a safe distance, careful not to be affected by the signal he is going to send via his SIM cards. The neurological wave that Valentine tests in the church makes the people aggressive, making them lose all control. They want to kill one another with no remorse. The same thing goes for Harry, whose skills lead him to eliminate everyone. When he walks outside the church, Valentine waits for him and admits his evil plan. Then, he shoots him in the head to kill him. Although Eggsy is not a Kingsman, he watches everything on Harry's laptop since he is in his house. Eggsy visits Arthur and the Kingsman leader invites him to have a seat. Eggsy notices that Arthur has something like a scar on his neck, which means he has received an implant from Valentine. Arthur pours some brandy for them to drink in Harry's memory but then pulls out a pen that can kill Eggsy because his glass was poisoned. A flashback shows us that Arthur has talked with Valentine and he agreed to be on his side. He gives Eggsy a chance to go with them but Eggsy prefers to die. Arthur activates the poison through the pen but he is the one who dies because Eggsy switched their glasses when he tricked Arthur to turn the other way. Then, he uses that same pen to extract the chip from his neck. On top of that, Arthur's phone receives a message from Valentine, telling him to go to a safe location because a wave will be unleashed in 6 hours. Eggsy informs Merlin about this and the latter suggests they should act on their own. He can't be certain who is working with Valentine and who's not. Merlin takes his agents on a plane and outlines their course of action. Roxy will use a suit to fly at the edge of the atmosphere and attack one of Valentine's satellites to prevent it from emitting the signal. Eggsy will pose as Arthur and he will enter Valentine's base. He will try to give Merlin access to Valentine's system so he can try to get full control of it. By analyzing the chip they got from Arthur, Merlin figures out that this chip is used to prevent the one who's wearing it from being affected by the signal. However, this chip is also equipped with a failsafe, which means that Valentine can make it explode. In the meantime, Valentine grabs the mic to give a speech to his guests. He doesn't like them being sad, so he reminds them that they are the chosen ones in this new age. They have to do something to save their planet and the only way that can happen is if some people sacrifice. Merlin lands the plane inside Valentine's base and Eggsy is allowed to go with the rest of the elite. As he tries to mingle with the crowd, Merlin asks him to find a laptop and log into the system. Eggsy sees the Swedish Prime Minister using a laptop and puts him to sleep. Then he plugs a USB into it and Merlin is able to hack into the system. At the same time, one of Roxy's balloons pops up and she loses her balance. Charlie appears behind Eggsy and puts a knife in his throat. After saying that his family got invited, he notifies Valentine about Eggsy's presence. Roxy locks on the targeted satellite and launches a missile as Eggsy tazzes Charlie and starts running through the crowd. Valentine doesn't want to take any chances, so he rushes the clock down to 2 minutes. Eggsy runs for his life through Valentine's base while Roxy goes on a freefall as she enters Earth again. When it's time, Valentine places his hand on his biometric computer to activate the signal but the missile hits the satellite and the wave can't be transmitted. Valentine goes crazy when Gazelle informs him that they have lost one of their satellites. Eggsy makes it back on the plane but sadly Merlin informs him that Valentine's system is protected by biometric security, which means they need his hand to enter the system. In the meantime, Valentine is already working on a solution to fix his satellite and it's not going to take much time. Soon, Eggsy and Merlin are cornered but the latter comes with a solution. Merlin activates the failsafe in the chips and the heads of Valentine's security start popping off like fireworks. At the same time though, many world leaders are killed. Valentine activates the signal and the people start going crazy. Even mothers get so aggressive that they want to kill their kids. Merlin prompts Eggsy to get Valentine's hand off his desk, but before doing that Eggsy has to deal with Gazelle. In a moment of climax, Eggsy and Gazelle attack each other. She manages to cut his tie off but Eggsy has given her a small cut on her forearm. Gazelle is poisoned by Eggsy's secret shoe blade and she drops dead on the spot. Then, Eggsy grabs one of her prosthetic legs and uses it to impale Valentine, who takes his hand off his computer before things get out of hand. Merlin congratulates Eggsy but the young man has one more thing left to do. He goes to Tilda's cell with some champagne and the two of them get active.